Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Very happy that you're here today. So there were a ton of comments on my last video asking me, what is this? What is this Bitcoin? What is this, what? And that got me thinking, why not make a few videos on the subject so that I can help you guys learn more about this amazing new technology. So this is a new series, the Jack Bitcoin series. I'm gonna be sitting down here once a week to talk to you about my recent Bitcoin findings and holding your hand as we journey into this new world together. So I want to start with the story of how I discovered Bitcoin. Now this story begins about 13.8 billion years ago when God decided, I'm bored. The Big Bang. We have the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, gravity, and of course, electromagnetism. All pivotal in what will be the creation of Bitcoin. All right, so fast forward, the year is 1937. My grandpappy is born. His father actually served in World War II, received a Purple Heart for shrapnel lodged in his back from a Japanese suicide bomber. So he raises my grandpa in New Jersey. My grandpa decides, fuck this, and he drops out of high school at age 16 and goes to find his way in the world. Works in a steel mill, then joins the Navy. He was too young for the draft, so missed the draft. This may never would have happened. Meets my grandma, and he starts a painting contracting company, and he paints houses for a living. Has 4 kids, the second oldest of which is my dad. My dad grows up poor in Vermont, graduates high school, top of his class, pays his whole way through college, opens a bar, meets my mom, and then he moves to Aspen, Colorado. And a few years pass, my dad's bartending at a hotel in Aspen, and 1997, my older brother plops right out of there. 2 years later, 99, probably the best year of the entire century. I just come flying out of there. I land on planet Earth. And that is where the story truly begins. So my dad is raising 4 children. He decides to get his real estate license. So he becomes a real estate broker. And so he starts flipping houses. He knew how to paint because my grandpa had taught him how to paint, and he's killing it. I'm growing up, my younger sister is born, and then my younger brother is born. There's 4 of us running around, shitting everywhere, just causing a complete and utter ruckus. And my dad's grinding it out, flipping houses, taking names, taking hits, making money, providing for his family. I'm growing up in a fucking awesome environment, full of abundance, full of love, full of joy, 2 loving parents. We have a house in the mountains. I'm skiing. I'm going to school. It's fucking sick. Then the great financial crisis of 2008 almost wipes us out. We basically almost lose everything. My dad is stressing. I'm 9 years old at the time, so I don't really know what is going on, but I can feel it. When you're 9 years old, that's like peak impressionable And so 2008, we almost lose everything, but my dad, the fucking savage that he is, just keeps the family afloat, and we ride it out, we survive. But the world has changed. Everything is fucking broken. Governments bailing out banks. We've got mass foreclosures around the country. People lose fucking everything. The banksters who caused this financial crisis get away with fat bonuses and zero responsibility. Nothing is fixed, but the seed of a new technology is being planted by a programmer known as Satoshi Nakamoto. No one knows who this man is, but he starts an email list. October 31st, 2008, publishes the Bitcoin white paper, which will probably go down in history as one of the most important papers ever written. I'm still 9 years old at this point in time. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I enter high school, doing sports, going to school. I graduate high school, 2017. I'm like, fuck yeah, get me out of here, please. I cannot get out of here fast enough. This is the worst time period of my life, probably. Except for the fact that it could have been way worse. But, you know, everything is relative. So I graduate high school, and I decide I'm not going to college. I'm just going to take a gap year, travel, work, and chill. And so that summer after high school, I get a job working on a ranch, made some money, and then I decided with my two friends to go travel. We went to Bali. Fucking awesome. Then I come back, it's around the fall, it's about maybe October, November, about this time. I'm an apprentice electrician at this point in time. I'm learning how to fucking wire panels and shit in the dark, deep, black cold of construction sites in winter in Aspen. So I'm all alone in the dark of winter in Aspen. I have too much time to think about life and I have an existential crisis, of course. A teenager without an existential crisis, you know, it's like peanut butter without jelly, you know. And I'm just browsing the internet one day and I start researching psychedelics because they were making somewhat of a comeback after the 60s, you know, by way of the internet. What type of kid isn't interested in drugs? And, you know, I had maybe tried weed once or twice, a handful of times at this point in my life. I really wanted to try psychedelics, but I was just way too scared to actually fully trip. I researched microdosing and I discovered that it actually has tons of really interesting benefits. The problem was I had no way to get any type of psychedelic drugs. I was a pretty innocent high schooler. I barely partied because I was just ski racing all the time. So I didn't fucking know where to get this shit. I actually was able to order some through the internet using Bitcoin in the early days of Bitcoin. So I get this acid off the dark web and you know, that's a whole nother fucking story for a different video. That was my first brush with Bitcoin. I had left, I think about like $60 or something in my Coinbase account in 2017. Fast forward to last April. Bitcoin's hitting new all-time highs. NFTs were exploding, Ethereum exploding. I'm just a stoner college kid at this point. This was also in the dark of winter too, which is funny because it seems like whenever it gets dark, I have too much time to know what to do with, and so I just end up researching, just going probably way too deep, you know what I mean? And so in April, I re-download my Coinbase app, sign in. I'm like astounded that my email still works for it and whatnot. I had to reset my password, of course. So I sign in and I look at my account and I have $650 in it. And and I'm like, holy shit, I'm rich. And I was like, wow, what the fuck? And so I did what I do best. I spend most of my time watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, and trying to figure out what this thing is. And at first, you know, I was like, oh, Bitcoin, okay, money, all right. And then what happens is when you start researching, you discover Ethereum, and then you discover Cardano, and then you discover Chainlink, and then you discover fucking Mana and all these other coins, all these other fucking projects. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin looks like this old geezer that you're just like, one of these new ones is definitely gonna beat him out and take over because, oh, it has so many problems. And what you think are bugs in Bitcoin are actually features, but you don't understand this yet. And so then I went further and further, and I started to research money. What is money? And why do people think it's valuable? Who controls the money? What happened in 2008? How did that happen? How was that allowed to happen? And what's happening now? Because I don't know if you've noticed, but the price of a turkey has doubled this year. What? House prices up 20%. Gas almost at $4. Gas in the UK right now is $7 a gallon. Food prices up. Rent prices up. Used cars are selling for more than fucking new cars right now. I started to see that our entire financial system is on fire. It is fucking burning. 2008 simply prolonged the inevitable collapse, and now we are beginning to see the beginning of the end. Really. And so I'm researching all of this, and I come back to Bitcoin after hundreds of hours of studying money, and this book opened my eyes to what is going on in the world. This book freed me from the Matrix. Did you know that Bill Gates is the largest owner of arable farmland in the United States? This man has never driven a combine in his entire fucking life. Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk have more equity in society than the bottom 50% of people. Do you know what this is like? This is like playing Monopoly when one person owns 90% of the properties on the board. And you know what just happened in 2020? You used to collect $200 every time you pass go, right? The bankers were like, well, it's getting kind of tough out there for them because one person owns 90% of the equity. So let's just change the rules and we'll give you guys $400 when you pass go. So now everyone's fucking stoked. They got their fucking Biden bucks and their stimulus checks and they're like, we're fucking rich, we're rich, we're rich. And they go pass go with $400. But the problem is, the rules don't just change for the average pleb, okay? They change the rules for the fucking one person who owns 90% of the board now too. And what did he do? He went and raised his fucking prices by 20% across the board. So now you're getting around the board and you end up with less than you fucking had in the first place. And most of you are probably still in school right now, so you might not be fully like financially separated from your parents yet. So you might not notice that literally everything is getting more expensive. My grocery bill has doubled. And do you want to know the reason why? A bunch of politicians and central bankers all got together and said, all right, let's print $6 trillion this year. So they printed $6 trillion in the last 18 months. That's literally 40% of the entire money supply. What happens when the money supply increases by 40%? What happens to your individual US dollar when now there are nearly twice as many US dollars in circulation? Each one of your US dollars becomes less valuable. Each dollar buys less shit. Okay, purchasing power of your dollars just went down. You just got a pay cut. You just got demoted. Now it takes you nearly twice as long to buy the same amount of goods because wages are fucking stagnant. Now your time is literally worth half as much. You have to work twice as hard to get around the monopoly board for the same amount of stuff. All of a sudden, now I can't pay for anything. All of a sudden, I am seriously struggling financially. In the background of all this, Bitcoin is ripping new all-time highs. It just hit 67K, and you can see the fucking inflation is literally just pouring into Bitcoin. A barrel of money, right? And some of it's pouring out into, CPI, Consumer Price Index, which is, a basket of goods that the government arbitrarily picks to measure. You got CPI at 6%. The rest of it's pouring out into real estate. You got a fucking 20%, 30% price increase in real estate. And then the huge fucking hole in it is literally just gushing into Bitcoin. You might be wondering, why Bitcoin? Why is Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs? Why is the US dollar in a hyperinflationary collapse against Bitcoin? Bitcoin is perfect money. Bitcoin is money that no one can control, no one can change. It's immutable. It's thermodynamically sound. If I'm a billionaire, I have to play by the same rules as a fucking pleb like me. Jeff Bezos and I are playing the same game when we are on the Bitcoin standard. It's not a fucking Ponzi. It's not a Fugazi. It's not fake. It's literally pure electricity being converted into digital energy for the digital world. So in this video series, we're gonna fucking just dive deep into this new type of money, and I'm just gonna try to just literally explain it the best that I can to you guys so that you can understand it. Okay, because I've watched so many fucking podcasts on this shit. Most of the people in the space right now are finance bros, crypto bros, economics people, nerds, basically. It's all nerds. I don't have this fucking background in math, but I still understand what I need to understand. So what I think I can bring to you is that same understanding. And I simply just want to help you guys escape economic tyranny, okay? Because I think it's important. 1.3 billion people live under double-digit inflation. If I live in Venezuela right now, and let's say Venezuela's currency is inflating 10% a year, in 5 years, half of my savings are gone. I may still have the same amount of money in the bank, right? If I have 10,000 bolivars in my bank account and they're printing 10% more each year, in 5 years, that $10,000 will only be worth $5,000 in purchasing power. And what this does is it creates a consumer mindset. There's not even a thought of saving money in the bolivar, because how are you going to save money when they're inflating the currency 10% a year? And you can't fucking go say, stop inflating the currency. I can't save my fucking time. You either buy US dollars, which are inflating less, still inflating, but less, or like a lot of people in Nigeria, in Venezuela, in Zimbabwe, you buy Bitcoin. Why? No one can inflate the fucking currency supply. It's a cap supply. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be created. Ever. No one can change that. It's immutable because it's enforced by code and by math. So that brings me back to the present moment. I have all of my savings in Bitcoin, and thank God, because everything is getting so expensive right now. But that's why I think this is so important. It provides a vehicle, a financial vehicle for billions of people to save their time, which will allow eventually for them to prosper. They don't want to play the game anymore. You can see it everywhere, even in the United States. Look around. We have the stock market hitting new all-time highs every single day. And it seems like on every fucking sign outside, every single restaurant seems to be hiring. Every store is hiring. There's no one working. We have fucking a backed up supply chain. I was in California in the summer, and literally you can see from Long Beach past Huntington, there's like 60 ships out there just waiting to be unloaded by the non-existent longshoremen who got laid off during COVID and haven't come back because they said, fuck this, I'm not playing this stupid game anymore. What we're facing here is complete and utter financial collapse. It's a little scary, don't get me wrong. I don't want the US dollar to collapse. I think that would probably be devastating to most people. What I think would be best is if we could have Bitcoin and the US dollar running in parallel for a few years and get enough people off the fiat system into Bitcoin so that they can save their fucking wealth and time and money. When you get a hyperinflationary collapse like in Weimar, Germany, people lose everything. And I'm basically just paraphrasing this film that I watched yesterday, which honestly sums up the whole ethos of Bitcoin very succinctly. And I'll link it in the description, so if you want to watch it, go watch that film because it was really good. I just want to hold your guys' hands through this process so that hopefully we don't have to have a repeat of the 20th century. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to die in a war. I don't fucking want to get shot. So that's what this series is going to be about. It's going to be really simple. It's just going to be me sitting here once a week talking about Bitcoin. Maybe I'll have some guests on the channel. So yeah, I'm really excited about it, as you can tell probably. But I have tons of ideas about videos that'll give you a breakdown of why Bitcoin is perfect money and why I think it's probably the least risky place you could put your money these days. Not financial advice. Look, I've said this once and I'll say it again, I'm not a guru. Okay, with that being said, I'll see you guys next week, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, leave me a comment. If you have questions that you'd like me to cover in the next video, drop a comment and I will try to do my best to answer them in the next video. And yeah, that's about it.